hands to the outside of your waist, like your tummy waist area. So we've done lots of stuff up here, but I want you to come down to here. So if you were lying down, it would look like this. And there's more space when you lie down to actually find your tummy. Or when you're sitting. I mean, my tummy's compressing my lungs when I sit. I'm like, oh, so I need to sit up really tall. But anyway, so here, put your hands around here. That's it. And to start with, if it's comfortable to you, allow your eyes to close, or if you'd prefer to keep them open, allow them to soften. And I just want you to breathe. So nice breaths. And with your hands, feel them gently moving as you're breathing. That's it. Paying attention to the rise and fall of your hands, the expansion of your hands as you breathe in, and the compression as you breathe out. And then still touching your tummy, I'd like you to either laugh or cough, which is really hard when I'm asking you to do it on demand. So you go, or whatever's going to work for you. And I want you to feel what happens to your hands. And in theory, whatever you do, you should feel it shift. You should feel, la la la. So when you're doing that, do you feel like your tummy kind of either expands, you might feel like your waist expands a little bit, or kind of comes in a little bit here? Yeah. So you feel like this shift underneath your hands as you're doing it. Okay. So that feeling is my favourite muscle. Can anyone remember what it's called? I go on about it a lot.
No.
Oh!
Transverse abdominis.
Yes! Hey, that's amazing. So transverse abdominis muscles, TVA, okay, so that muscle there, as you laugh or cough or breathe out, that naturally activates. So as you've been putting your hands here and breathing and feeling the rise and fall of your tummy, it's actually your TVA activating very gently as you breathe out, and then as you breathe in, you're releasing it. So now let's make it a bit more subtle. So instead of a forced laugh or cough, we're going to blow instead. So we're going to breathe in and then blow out through pursed lips. And that is your powerhouse activating. So as you're blowing out, everything is coming in towards the center and up a little bit, all here. As you breathe in, your diaphragm is lowering, your pelvic floor muscles are lowering, everything's relaxing. And then as you breathe out, your powerhouse activates all in towards the center. And then you breathe in to release it all. So give yourself a couple more breaths like that. And then if you're lying down, we're all going to sit up, but swing our legs onto the bed if you've got your legs on the side of your bed, and hold onto the back of your thighs. Now, this position can be uncomfortable if you have got a tummy, okay? So what happens if your legs are together and your tummy is here, it's compressing on your lungs, so it makes it quite difficult for you to breathe. So give yourself space, like get your tummy in the center, get your legs open, okay, so your tummy can rest. I know for people who don't have a tummy, you're probably wondering what on earth I'm going on about. It's just a thing. It's a thing that us voluptuous ladies get. So, the most important thing is just breathing. So, holding behind the thighs, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, and sitting as tall as you can. In an ideal world, if we were doing perfect Pilates, which doesn't exist in my head, we'd be like this. Okay? So we'd have our legs directly forward, our elbows out, our shoulders down like this. But actually, this is perfectly gorgeous as well, okay? So have your legs a bit open, make sure you're breathing as you're sitting tall. Shoulders are down, and then we're going to very gently curve the bottom underneath. So we're coming off the sit bones to curve under and use the hands to support and then roll back up again. That's it. And I was just going to say, if you want to, you can do this lying down and do gentle pelvic tilts. Okay, do what suits you for today. That's it, so nice and gentle. And Katie, you're perfect. So nice, gentle tilts. You're C-curving and then coming back up. And those sitting, we're going to gently C-curve and then bring our heads forward towards the knees as we come up and then come up tall. So it's a gentle C-curve, heads forward towards knees and come up. So how it would look if you were lying down is gentle C-curve and then tilt the head. That's it.
Leanne, if my back is like, it's kind of feeling like it's pulling like on either side here, should I lie on the floor rather than?
If it's pulling, yes, or it might just be you might need to shuffle again, so you might need to come up and give you everything a wriggle because you might just be feeling tension there.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, lying down's wonderful too, Sophie. So small, forehead to knees as you rise back up. So it's quite a subtle move, isn't it? You could make it really big. You could really curve and really come forward and up. But actually, the power in Pilates is the subtler you are, the more your muscles are working in a controlled way. So this is how we manage to enable everyone to sustain exercise. Because if you're anything like me, with a history of loads and loads of exercise and constantly getting injured, doing really, really well, getting injured, and then having to stop for ages, we don't tend to work like that. Well, we do not work like that. Okay, the next one's a little bit harder. We're going to reach the hands forward and C-curve a little bit and hold and breathe. That's it. Now remember, there's the option to be lying down doing this. So where you'd be lying down and your pubic bones tilted towards your nose and you're holding that position. And you may be feeling this lots in your hip flexors. Yeah. So there's the external rotation of the hips also works here. You might want to go a tiny, tiny bit more. Just double check your shoulders are down as you're doing this. And you're breathing. That's it. And eventually we're going to get to the point where we just need to collapse on the bed. And let everything go. Let your back relax. Let your tummy relax. And we're going to do exactly what Amy was doing, but in a controlled way. So gently sway the knee side to side. Nice and slow and smooth. Okay, so that was very much a rolling back. We're now going to do the roll forward, which is where we actually lift our heads and chests. And in your head, I want you to think, instead of peeling down towards the floor, we're going to peel off it. So it's like you've got something sticky underneath your back and head. And if you were just going to come up like this, it would hold you back, wouldn't it? It wouldn't it? Whereas if you're going to peel off something sticky, you kind of want to peel it to curve up and then unpeel it, stick it back down to curl back down again. It's like that nice, think of a pearl necklace. As you're lifting it up, one vertebra at a time comes up, and one bit of pearl goes back down. So just nice and slinky as you peel and down. And notice I'm not going very far. It's a small lift. Really think of more of the chest curving than the head as you peel and then peel back down. That's it. And then when you're ready, a nice release for your neck is to turn your head side to side. Okay. We're going to do a little bit of classical Pilates, but we're going to build it up nice and slowly. So the first one we're going to do is bring one knee in towards your chest, but keep the knee externally rotated. And then bring the other knee in towards your chest. So your heels will be together and your knees are externally rotated. So you've got a gap between your knees, but your heels are together. That's it. Okay. So here, all I would like you to do is push out. So push out and then kind of frog leg your legs back. That's it. Now use your breath. So we're going to use the powerhouse. We're going to go and breathe in to release. It's like these piston engines where you get some power into you as you go and release. Now legs are really heavy, aren't they? And some of us have heavier legs than others. So if your leg is feeling really heavy and you've done 2 and you're like, that is enough for me today, that's perfect. Okay? You take a break. You can also hold on to them, that helps too. So giving them a break by holding on to them. So remember, we're trying to connect our brains with our bodies here by being as gentle as we can. That's it. And moving in ways that suit us. That's it. And the next one, we're going to combine the 2 moves. So we're going to bring the arms behind our heads. We're going to push on the heels to reach and then return again. Now this is quite hard, so you can tell this is verging on a bit more advanced Pilates as you do this move. So options are the legs can wait for a bit and you could reach the arms without the chest lifting. That's it. Or you could peel. So you choose the version that's going to work for you today. And I don't know what you got up to this weekend. You could have done loads. Or you could have done nothing at all. And either way is beautiful, because hopefully you were listening to your bodies and giving them what they needed as you're doing this. So. And then when you're ready, take a break. Oh, that's quite a lot on tummy, wasn't it? Yeah, so sway the knees side to side, let the tummy switch off. So the next thing we're going to do is put the hands underneath our buttocks. Now I'm going to say people with really hypermobile shoulders, over time this can feel uncomfortable, and also hypermobile wrists and fingers. So if you need to extract your hands at any point, feel free. Okay, I'm not going to make you keep them there. So with or without the hands underneath your buttocks, I want you to imagine that your hands are like scales, okay? So you've got 2 separate scales underneath your bum. And your legs are going to come feet hip width apart. And your scales, you want them to stay completely even. Okay, so one buttock isn't going to push into the scales more than the other. And we're going to move one knee away from you with control, without the scales shifting. So you're going to have to go so slowly. And you're going to have to pay so much attention to how your tummy is working to press the opposite hip into the mat or the bed. And then bring it back really slowly. And the other thing I notice when people are doing this is often the other knee tends to react and compensate. So you might need to actually look and check that the knee is staying still as the other knee moves out. And then return. Have a think about what you're doing with your jaw and your neck right now. Some of you might need to just give a bit of gurning. That's it. So really slowly keeping the scales evenly weighted as you rotate one knee out, keeping the other still. And return. Maybe check in with yourself and see if you've remembered to breathe at the same time. And then when you're ready, bring both knees back to hip width apart and still paying fine attention to your scales underneath your buttocks. If you need to readjust them, feel free. So keeping the scales even, lengthen one leg. So you're lengthening it. So the knees stay even with each other. So you're lengthening to a diagonal. Now that's quite hard, isn't it? Keeping the scales even as you're lengthening and then returning it back again. So send it away from you from a diagonal. That's it. Smoothly and slowly does it. And I know the weird thing is that we're moving our legs right now, but the muscles that we're working the most right now are our tummy muscles. So we're working that powerhouse as we lengthen the leg and then we bring it back again. And it's so good to see a lot of you are not bending your knees backwards as you do this. Well done for remembering. And we're going to go one layer up again. So we're going to lengthen the leg. And then we're going to lower the leg down to the floor, still keeping the pelvis evenly distributed on the mat. Then we're going to, are you ready for this? It's hard. Circle away from you. Feel how much more your tummy needs to work to keep that pelvis evenly weighted. And then back. And then rest that leg. Woo. Let's swap sides. So send the other leg away. We're going to lower it down to the floor. Circle it away from you. Up and back to the other knee. And then return. It's like we're drawing a capital D right now, isn't it? So how slowly you can go. Slowly does it. That's it. So slowly slide it down. Slowly glide it away from your body. Up, back up to the top. And then return. That's it. Swapping sides. And then we're going to come off our hands for a bit, if you still manage to keep them underneath, and give them a little bit of a shake. If you want a water break now, feel free, or a wiggle break, whatever you need. Okay, so we've done the scales. We're going to hug a knee in towards our chest and then lengthen the other leg. That's it. And we're literally just going to sit there for a moment, hugging the knee and lengthening the other leg. Remembering to make room for your body, so you might want to shift your tummy in towards the centre, maybe move the knee out to the side a touch, and breathe in this position. So nice deep breaths. And then we're going to find our ball or our cushion so that I'll something round and put it underneath the knee. Now, if you haven't got anything suitable or if you've got really slippy balls, feel free to do this without anything at all. You don't have to have a ball underneath your knee. Here, that's it. So my ball is really slippy, so it might just go at some point. Hopefully you've got something a bit stickier than mine. So we're now going to circle that knee. So remember those scales that we've got, where we want to keep the scales evenly distributed as we gently circle. Can you see how small and slow I'm going? Almost as though I'm not moving at all. That's it. And then bring it back towards the centre. And then we're going to externally rotate at the knee and then return. So a very small move, externally rotate and return. Now we're going to keep that external rotation. So you've got that external rotation and then we're going to circle. Whole new set of muscles that you're working now. As you maintain that external rotation, I tend to say, think of your knee as watching something in the far corner of the room. So you're keeping that external rotation as you do this. And it's hard, so do rest whenever you need to. That's it. And then when you're ready, extract the ball and give that knee a hug again. And that'll just let those muscles switch off. So a lot of you have felt that in your hip flexors, so the muscles at the front of your hip, close to where your pelvis is. Okay, now that leg's going to get to rest. While you make sure your ball's ready, hug the other knee in towards your chest and lengthen the leg. And breathe. That's it. So the move that we're doing now, we're kind of exploring, we're layering it up a little bit. It's called single leg circle, this one. So the big Pilates version, if you're doing it with Joseph Pilates, everything would be activated, you'd be going, ooh, and then circle around and back, okay, like this. But we're not doing that, we're doing our version. So then slide your something round underneath your knee, if it works for you. And we're going to draw a circle with that knee, keeping the pelvis really still. That's it. Carol, you're on Go Fast today. Slow it down. That's it. I think you've had a busy day. Slowly. That's it. And let's do the rotation. So rotate the knee outwards and then return. So rotate the knee. If I go this way, you'll see better what I'm doing. So the leg is lengthened. Go rotate and return. So gentle rotation and return. And then we're going to rotate outwards and circle again. So like your knee is watching the far corner as you circle. Woo, it's quite intense, isn't it, on the hips and the tummy?
Yeah, I'm finding it quite hard.
Yeah. Who knew bed Pilates could be so hard, huh? And then when you're ready, hug the knee in towards your chest without the ball. That's it. And release. So we're going to release these hip flexors because they've been working really hard. And there's two options I'm going to give you. The first option is legs are quite wide, so like at the edges of your mat. And smoothly and slowly sway the knee in towards the centre. And return. And sway the other way in towards the centre. and return. So that's the first option. Option number 2, if you like it, is the ball underneath your buttocks and lengthening the legs like this. So either way, you're going to get that hip flexor stretch. Honestly, I love this one so much. Oh! So you know all about my favourite muscle, the transverse abdominis, and now you know all about my favourite stretch, where we can just collapse over the top of a ball and go, "Wah!" That's it. And then when you're ready, bring yourself off your ball if you're on it. And we're going to sit up. Now, there are options to do this with your knees up in tabletop, and I'll show you those in a minute as well. So, we're going to explore single leg stretch prep. So the knees are going to be in front of you, or you're going to lie down and the knees will be like that, okay? Now, single leg stretch is, the official version is this version here. They go and like this with your chest up. But the version we're going to do today is the one where we make room for our tummies again. So get them between your legs, open the legs a little bit. And place one hand on the opposite knee and then reach the other hand to the outside or front of the ankle. That's it. And then we're going to swap. Woo. That's it. And swap. So this is the hand movement for single leg stretch. If you're doing it down here, you could have your knees like this, and you could be going like this, reach and reach, and you can even do it here and not reach quite so far down. And if you're fed up of having your legs up for so long, you can do it like this. So you're not touching at all, but you're reaching and doing the imagined exercise. That's it. Well done. And then we're going to look at the legs. So the seated version for the legs is where you bring the knee in and you push at like a target in front of you and then release. Bring the knee in, push at the target in front of you and then release. So that's the seated version, knee in and push and release. The lying down version, knee in and push and release. That's it. And if you're doing the seated version, you could be like this, and you're pushing and releasing, pushing and releasing. If you're lying down, you could be pushing and releasing, kicking at that target, but in a slow and controlled manner. This is one of the 5 Joseph Pilates exercises that raises your heart rate. Then when you're ready, collapse. Get yourself comfy. Now that was a lot of targeted work on your abdominals. So bring the feet together and allow the knees to roll over towards one side as you take deep breaths into tummy to allow the tummy to switch off. Then we're going to go up and over the other way. That's it. As you allow your tummy to just switch off. Well done, everybody. So next week, we're going to add 2 more to our bow and arrow. We're going to add double leg stretch and spine curve forward. Might even do it on Thursday, see how we get on. So today you explored 2 more advanced classical Pilates moves. One was the single leg circle and the other was the single leg stretch. Okay, we're going to move into relaxation now. So feel free to get yourself into a comfy position. So if that's lying on your side or getting bolsters under your knees, anything that just helps your body relax and recover. I'm going to get the music. So take a moment to prop yourself up. There we go. Can you all hear my voice? Brilliant. And can you all hear somebody singing very gently? Brilliant. So making yourself comfortable, lying down or sitting. And if you feel safe or like it feels okay, feel free to close your eyes. And allow your body to just melt down into the floor or the bed. Allow your attention to gently come into the body and the flow of your breath. And experience the sense of your body as a whole, simply lying here, extended and breathing. And when you feel ready, picture in your mind's eye the image of a lake. And it could be one that you've been to before, or it could be one you've seen in a photo, or one that you make up. And notice how the lake is an extended body of water, held in a depression in the Earth's surface. Perhaps fed by a spring or a stream. And if you watch the lake carefully, you'll notice that it's always changing, and yet it's also always itself. It changes as the sun moves across the sky, where the light is reflected off the water in different ways. It changes depending on the weather. Sometimes on calm days, the surface might be like glass, reflecting everything with great precision that comes by. like the clouds and the birds, or the trees that might surround the lake. And so there are times when the lake is extremely reflective and contains, in a certain way, everything that comes by or over it. And different times, the surface might be choppy and sometimes quite pronounced in the waves, in which times the lights might sparkle off the waves in different ways, like jewels. And of course, the lake changes through the seasons. In the winter, the lake might actually freeze over. But through day and night, and through the seasons and through the years, the lake is always changing. But it's also its own essential nature. And let's see if we can invite the lake to become coextensive with our own bodies lying here. So that our body becomes the lake itself. Where we also feel held and embraced by the earth's surface as we lie here. Aware of the many ways in which our own mind is like the surface of the lake. Sometimes highly reflective, sometimes choppy. Bring yourself in touch with the sense of the entirety of the lake, the full body of water, not only in the surface but also deep below. And as we lie here, just experiencing the fullness of our own being, so that even at times when our mind is choppy and upset or reactive, or dealing with difficult things, we can drop down beneath the surface of our own mind's waves and find a stillness and a calmness that's always here and always available to us with each moment. With each breath. And certainly when we come to lie down in this way, lying here under the canopy of our vast awareness, experiencing the moment-to-moment changes in our bodies and sensations and thoughts and feelings and impulses and sounds, and all the while lake-like, just simply lying here, watching the play of the weather of the mind and the body. Allowing the awareness to hold it all, moment by moment, breath by breath. in our own fullness, our own amazing completeness, moment by moment. And if you have space in your day and you feel like you need to drift off to sleep, feel free to do so. Or if you need to start bringing yourself round to move on with the rest of your day, I'd like you to take a couple of deep, energizing breaths in and out. And then wiggle your fingers and your toes and allow your eyes to gently flutter open. Maybe turn your head side to side. And take your hands above your head as you reach up in celebration of your amazing powerhouse as you press those hands down past your chest. Well done. Well done. So well done for exploring some classical, harder Pilates moves, and also for giving yourself a moment just to switch off and relax.